Stories with a stoner. Not that kind of stoner. This kind of stoner.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Stories with a Stoner. I'm Julie. I'm your resident stoner here at On the Top Boutique. If you like to listen to stories and you like to see sparkly costumes being time-lapsed, then you're in the right place. That's what I do here on the channel. I like to read a little short inspirational stories while you get to watch me stone, make something pretty. I'm about to stop yapping, but I am gonna say after the story, stick around, because I'm gonna give you some information about all of this. So sit back, relax, enjoy.
Chapter 15. Have you ever celebrated a woohoo moment? The next to last day of school, Miss Thompson's 6th grade math class played a kickball game against Miss Choi's 7th graders. I was Miss Thompson's 4th period assistant, so that was my team. I've coached baseball, soccer, and basketball youth teams, but participating in sports has never been my forte. As each student stood at home plate, a pitcher gave them a multiplication problem. If they got it right, they could kick the ball. If they got it wrong, they were out. I never realized how competitive Miss Thompson was until I heard her give the class her pep talk. Now listen, guys, Miss Choi's team beat us last period. Now we have to even the score. The students picked up on her enthusiasm. One student tried to stretch one's base into 2 bases. Out, screamed the student umpire. The next kid also tried. Out. Then someone got on base and we squeaked in a run. Now we needed to protect the lead. Hormones and growth spurts start to set in around the 7th grade, so our 6th grade students were definitely outmatched in size. Oh no, here it comes, I thought. We managed to hold them because 2 students were thrown out at first, and the 3rd student gave the wrong answer to the multiplication problem. It was 3 up and 3 down. We didn't get a run in our last inning, but we still needed to keep the other team from scoring. The bell was about to ring, so this was it. I stood behind shortstop, but in front of left field. Miss Choi's class had 2 outs with a runner on 3rd. It was time to make it or break it. I don't remember who kicked the ball, but it went high in the air, really high. Oh no, I thought, it's headed my direction. I thought about stepping aside to let the ball bounce because I'd never be able to catch it. Usually a kid ran to take over, but not this time. Everyone froze. I felt their stares. I thought, it's just me and the ball. God, please help me. I stuck out my arms. I didn't even have to move my feet. I had seen kids catch the ball, but forgot to bring their elbows in, so the ball went straight through their arms and thudded onto the ground. I quickly brought my elbows in right before I caught it. Woohoo! The kids started whooping and hollering. Miss Witt, you did it! I've never gotten so many high fives in my life. I looked over at Miss Thompson, and she was hopping up and down, clapping her hands. My arms and chest stung for a long time, but it didn't matter to me. The important thing was that I hadn't let the class down. I've attended all sorts of sporting events in my lifetime, seen all sorts of heroes, but that was the first time I was the hero. It was a great feeling. We celebrated what I call a woohoo moment. Another woohoo moment in my life involved coffee. I love to drink coffee in the morning. It's a nice thing that I do for myself. I prefer liquid creamers, so at the grocery store, I love to scan the refrigerator case for new creamer flavors. One day, I saw a container that said limited edition. I looked at the label and felt like I heard angel harps playing Cinnabon by International Delight. I had to try it. They also had Almond Joy. I picked up 2 Cinnabon and 1 Almond Joy. I wasn't about to miss out on a limited edition. At home, I tasted the Almond Joy first. It can't get any better than this. The next day, I tried the Cinnabon. It tasted okay, but not the way I'd expected. Then I tried adding a little more. Perfect. I don't know who created that flavor, but I would like to meet them and give them a hug. I've even watched my 10-year-old dog, Brownie, experience one of those beautiful moments. When I walk my 3 dogs in the 100-degree weather, Brownie, a bloodhound and beagle mix, gets bogged down by her thick, heavy fur. Brownie weighs 37 pounds and is only 15 inches tall, but 24 inches long, with a 15-inch tail. One summer, I took her to the groomer to be shaved. They left nothing but a tuft of fur on the end of Brownie's tail, making it look like a lion's tail. She looked really adorable. It may have been my imagination, but she looked like she was smiling when I picked her up. As I took her for a walk, she raised one of her hind legs really high, and it looked like she was happily skipped on 3 legs as her tail wagged rhythmically like a metronome on fast tempo. Her body language was a picture of celebration. Woo-hoo! 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 Some other moments I've enjoyed are the smeared magenta hues of a sunset, the unexpected aroma of a gardenia bush, the beauty and the smell of my salmon-colored roses in the backyard. I also love to get on the ramp to the highway near my house to look at the deep green shades of the crops that line my path. I've experienced the exhilaration of hearing that Laura, Aaron's wife, was pregnant with our first grandchild, the shock when Nathan won a car in the awards ceremony his senior year of high school, and the rush of adrenaline when Paul and his college team created a dog pile after the last out that determined they were going to Omaha for the College World Series. Woo-hoo! James chapter 1 verse 17 says, "Every good thing given and every perfect gift is from above." I've listened to reports of people who say they visited heaven and returned to earth. They say that the colors are deeper, the smells are more fragrant, and that there is an indescribable music. I can't wait to experience the biggest woohoo moment ever. The joy we experience here is like a tiny drop in the largest ocean, only a taste of what's to come. When my small mind says it doesn't get any better than this, I imagine that God smiles and says, "Just wait until you see the good stuff." Jesus told a parable of a woman who had 10 coins but lost one. She turned the house upside down looking for her lost coin. Jesus said, "And when she finds it, you can be sure she'll call her friends and neighbors. Celebrate with me. I found my lost coin." Luke chapter 15, verse 9. A woohoo moment worthy of joyous celebration. Right now, though, I thank God for my woohoo moments as I travel through life. He is under no obligation to answer even my small request to catch a ball on a dusty playground in 98-degree weather for an insignificant game. The Cinnabon creamer, the 3-legged skip of a freshly shorn dog, a majestic sunset, the sweet fragrance of a homegrown rose. The list could go on forever. I'm sure you have your own stories. Let us never take for granted the little joys He sends each day. Take a moment to thank your Heavenly Father, David said. But let me run loose and free, celebrating God's great work. Psalms chapter 35, verse 9. Embrace your woohoo moments and celebrate. Chapter 16. Have you ever controlled your anger? When my son Paul was 15 years old, his all-star baseball team was in the 1998 Junior Babe Ruth World Series. There was a photographer on site named Jeff who would, for a fee, take pictures of your son. I signed up for the first game, and he took several good action shots of Paul at shortstop. I was pleased with them. Paul was going to pitch in the next game, so I signed up once again. I emphasized to Jeff the fact that this may be Paul's only chance to pitch. So make sure you get some good ones, I said as I walked away. We won the game, and I couldn't wait to look at the photos. But Jeff's jaw dropped when he saw me. He said, "I'm so sorry, Miss Witt. Somehow I forgot to shoot him pitching. I have some nice shots of him batting, though. I had really wanted pictures of him pitching." But I smiled through my disappointment. "Maybe he'll get to pitch again," he said. I thought, yeah, right. His arms has been hurt for 3 months. That's not going to happen. But 2 days later, Paul's arm recovered, and he was scheduled to pitch again. I went straight to Jeff. "Don't forget, he's pitching again. Get some good ones." I was confident that Jeff would get plenty, maybe more than usual since he messed up the last time. I didn't even bother to take any photos with my small-lensed, low-budget camera. Paul would have looked like an ant from that far away anyway. We won that game too. I zipped over to Jeff, excited to see the pictures. As I approached Jeff's booth, his jaw dropped even more than it had the last time. "I am so sorry. Somehow I forgot again." My mind was really whirling at that point. Believe me, no scriptures popped in my head. I didn't feel any special anointing to testify. All I felt was anger. How could he forget? Not once, but twice. This could have been Paul's only chance to participate in a tournament this prestigious. There would be no more pitching. All those thoughts went through my head, but my mouth froze. This time, it was my jaw that hung open. I'm pretty transparent with my facial expressions, so I'm sure he figured out what I was feeling. I wanted to explode, but I knew that wouldn't change anything. Jeff offered to take pictures of my son on the mound after everyone left the field. Even though Paul was exhausted from the 100-degree heat, he agreed. Jeff sent the photos to us in the mail, and I must say they turned out to be fantastic. Jeff felt really terrible about the situation. He made up for it by not charging us for the pictures. When, in Paul's junior and senior years, his high school team, the Pine Bluff Zebras, played in the state tournament in Fayetteville, Arkansas, Jeff took the pictures. We smiled and exchanged knowing waves as we passed each other. All was forgiven, and we were in good standing with one another. In 2005, Paul's senior year in college, the Baylor Bears made it to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. It was the goal of all teams to make this trip. We couldn't believe it. I took my camera along to see if I could get some candid shots, but I didn't worry about the game shots because I figured they would have photographers for hire at this illustrious tournament. I figured wrong. I talked to about 8 different people working the event and finally understood, you're on your own. Well, at least I brought my own camera, I thought. But when I took my first picture, something in it jammed. It was broken, it was busted, and I was disgusted. I couldn't let that ruin all the fun. At least I was there to enjoy the game in person. God, please put it in someone's heart to take a few photos that they will share with me, I prayed. The game ended and we won. I went into the stands behind the Baylor dugout to congratulate the team. As I turned to go back up the steps, I was greeted by a familiar face. "Hey, do you remember me?" I was shocked to see Jeff. He proceeded to tell me how he had kept up with Paul throughout his baseball career. When he found out Paul's team had made it to Omaha, nothing was going to keep him away. I listened as he excitedly talked on and on. It was as if he were talking about his own son, whom he was proud of. but his next statement floored me. By the way, I hope you don't mind, but I took a few extra pictures of Paul. I'll send them to you later. Do you still live at the same address? Believe me, I started bawling right there on the steps of the bleachers. He had no idea what I had been going through that day, just trying to get a few memorable pictures. Of course you can take pictures. Take all you want, I said through my tears. You know, Miss Witt, I always felt bad about my mistake in '98. He started to say more, but I held up my hand. Stop beating yourself up. I forgave you a long time ago. We both laughed. I thought back to that day when Paul was 15. I admit that I had been angry that Jeff didn't take the pictures I wanted, but I had a choice as to how to respond. Should I blow up and make a fool of myself, or keep my emotions under control? The Bible says, control your temper, for anger labels you as a fool. Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 9. That means we are allowed to experience our emotions. We just need to keep them under control. I remember Martha and Mary in the Bible. Imagine how they felt when their brother Lazarus died. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days when Jesus arrived. Jesus loved them, yet he waited until Lazarus was stinking in the tomb. What kind of friend was this? Heal strangers but ignore your friends? You know they must have been angry, but are you aware that Jesus was angry too? When Jesus saw her sobbing and the Jews with her sobbing, a deep anger welled up within him. John chapter 11, verse 34. He told Martha that her brother would be raised up, but she didn't understand. Others had questions about Jesus not healing Lazarus. Then Jesus, the anger again welling up within him, arrived at the tomb. John chapter 11, verse 38. We know that Jesus did raise Lazarus from the dead. However, it is important to remember that Jesus was angry because the people didn't believe he would do it. But he didn't let his anger rule him. He could have said, if you're going to act like that, he can just stay in the grave. Get mad, but don't be a fool about it. Express displeasure, but don't dwell on it. Consider the Canaanite woman who approached Jesus. Her daughter needed to be healed. Jesus said, it's not right to take the bread out of children's mouths and throw it to the dogs. Matthew chapter 15, verse 26. The woman could have gotten all huffy and said, well, I never, and stormed off, missing a blessing. However, she was quick. You're right, Master, but beggar dogs do get scraps from the Master's table. Jesus gave in. Oh, woman, your faith is something else. What you want is what you get. Right then, her daughter became well. Matthew chapter 15, verses 27 through 28. I'm sure the woman was angry, but she controlled herself and thus got what she wanted, healing. It's easy to blow a future blessing with a stupid response. We are the only ones who determine our own blessings. I'm glad I didn't voice how I felt that day with Jeff. Maybe God was testing me. Would you like to know the rest of the World Series story? About a month after we got back, I received a package in the mail. 99 free, beautiful, professional pictures of Paul in the games. It was more than I could have asked for in my wildest dreams. 2 weeks later, Jeff sent 2 collages of action shots from the World Series. As they say in the MasterCard commercials, priceless. The next time you feel you are justified in your anger, you probably are. But consider how you react, because it could be a test. The one who has angered you could be the one who will later bring you the blessings. I've got proof.
Oh, hi, you're back. I was just counting my pocket change real quick. you enjoy that story? Did you get something out of it? I did too. I want to say that you need to go out to Amazon.com and buy the book, because each chapter, the author, Sherry, has a couple of questions. Some of them you do a deep dive. You've got some references to look up. Actually, she puts them in there for you. You don't even have to look them up. But some of them you just answer, and there's no right or wrong response. It's in the description box below. And then if you liked seeing Miss Dolly, you can head over to On the Top Boutique. Check out the description box below, the link to my shop, and also head on over to Royal Rhinestones. They are offering 15% off your first purchase. Just type in OTTB at checkout to get your 15% off. Don't forget, before you leave, click the subscribe, thumbs up, give me a little clickety-clack message. What was your favorite part? Sparkle on, be kind as you do it. Until next time, bye.